Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience. Hello, welcome back to Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience. I'm your host, Big Les. We're going to get stuck straight into your Origin review. We've literally got no notes. The screen is completely black. We are just going extremely raw straight after the game, giving our thoughts on the performance from New South Wales and Queensland. Look, we'll start off with New South Wales. The penalty count is what a lot of people are going to talk about in this one. They're going to go back and look at that penalty count and go, New South Wales, they were robbed in that regard. I don't think that is the case. New South Wales, pretty ill-disciplined, some pretty poor penalties and errors in this one, some pretty lackluster stuff that we probably should have got right in that first half that we sort of did in the second half. Much better second half, but the first half was pretty bad and it probably lost us the game. Some key moments there, just coming out of our own end. Some errors, some weird plays in that second half as well, and we're trying to come back into the game. A lot of misdirection. It does leave you scratching your head a little bit, some of the plays in the last few moments of the game, but New South Wales were generally scrambling. They were trying to find a way to get over the line. But I think the first half and the errors and things like that, I think the head noise going into the second half as well, the goal kicking was a big factor as well in New South Wales going down in this game. Obviously, we thought Nathan Cleary was going to be goal kicking. Nathan Cleary looked like he was pretty banged up in this one as well, which is obviously going to be a huge watch going into the next few days. He's set to be rested for Penrith this week. Not sure what the buys and stuff are looking like for him over the next few weeks, but hopefully we get a nice little sneaky buy for him just the week before Origin or leading up to that point, because I think he needs it. I think he just needs that rest and time off to get that quad right. It looked like the quad was hampering him a little bit, kicked a little bit more in the second half, but just watching him in that game, his movements, not really taking the line on as much. Had two really good moments, but not the 20 runs for the 100 and so meters that we saw in game one. I thought it was still a pretty decent performance, especially in the second half. But as I said, second half, the big thing for me was just that they lacked a little bit of that direction. They did lack a little bit of, I just said it then, direction. It was the key word there. They had some really weird plays, some real weird errors. They were going short side heaps, trying to test that out. They had the overlap none of the times that they went to that right side. Ended up going way past Dylan Edwards and going out because Lomax couldn't handle the footy. But just some moments like that. There was a few opportunities for Cleary to obviously nail a few 40-20s and things like that as well. Not going to be too overcritical on that. I feel like the way that Queensland started the game and their intensity, guys we didn't think we were going to stand up, like your Kurt Capewells, like your Lindsay Collinses, like your Harry Grants. Munster had a huge game at captain. We'll talk about that in a second. It threw New South Wales off a little bit. You come into a game, especially at Perth with the record as well, and you don't expect to win, but it's at the forefront of your mind. You have the record in Perth. It is at the forefront of your mind, and I did feel a little bit like that for New South Wales to start the game. And when Queensland came out with that intensity in the first few sets, it did throw New South Wales off a little bit as well. When Spencer Leniu came on the field, he was a target every time he ran the ball. They handled him pretty well, whether it be Kurt Capewell, whether it be a few other guys there through the middle. Cotter pumped him once as well. They handled Spencer Leniu extremely well when he came on. They tried to bring him on in the last few minutes to get a bit of momentum and try and get into Queensland's end. We did get in their end, but Spencer Leniu did get handled a few times. I tell you what, I was very impressed with Stefano Utoikamanu. When he came on the field for that first stint, he was outstanding. Really, really strong with his carries. For the first part of that stint, he was great. Just bouncing off players and getting quick play the balls. He was really, really good. Second half of the stint wasn't so great just before he came off. Just not sticking as much as he did in that first part of the stint. But, overall, I thought he had a really good game, and I thought it was a good selection. And we were talking about him coming, into the starting side and moving Max King to the bench. A bit of egg on my face in that one because I thought Stefano was really good, had a real impact off the bench. And I think, momentum-wise, really changed the momentum for New South Wales. It's when they started to get that momentum through the middle of the field when Stefano did come on. I think that Payne Haas should have played probably a little bit longer if I'm being a bit critical of that forward rotation. Max King not coming back on after his first stint was a little bit strange as well. I think that, as I said though, Payne Haas for me was the big one. I think that there was a point in the game where Hudson Young was starting to drop off a few tackles and making some errors, and you obviously had Stefano as well. The back half of his stint wasn't the best. They needed to bring Payne Haas on a little bit sooner and just get that momentum back. I feel like Liam Martin also, by the end of it, lost a bit of confidence as well. Wasn't going in for those tackles and things like that as well. Fatigue sort of set in for him too. I think that with Hudson Young, as good as he can be through the middle of the field, and you know what, he was pretty good for the most part. And again, just the back end of that stint for me, for Hudson Young, just wasn't the best. I think it was just a little bit of fatigue. So obviously forward rotation management, just playing those guys for a little less minutes. I think that Stefano's good. If you were to halve that stint and have it as two separate stints there, that would be perfect for Stefano, with the way that he came on and the way that he played. Moving into the rest of the side, Luai was outstanding. I thought that Luai was great. Really played well when they went to that left-hand side. Had some really nice deft touches, two or three set restarts there as well for Jerome Luai. Obviously, his kicking game, I think, set up 2 tries in this one. Really, really good with his ball playing. Had some really big moments. Even that kick to that left touch line as well. Where obviously Hammer tried to pull it in and knocked it on. That spiral, weird-shaped kick. Hammer panicked and they obviously got the result. You know, just the little moments like that for Jerome Luai, I was really impressed. I think that it's exactly what you want from him coming into this sort of arena. The eye gouging and shit like that, obviously not. But just those little deft touches and the smart footy that Luai can play is exactly what I want. The short kicking game is outstanding. His running game is outstanding. And just those big moments that he can have. I thought that there were some massive moments where it shifted it back in New South Wales' favour, and that was off the back of Jerome Luai. Brian Toto, outstanding out of yardage as well. Really good work out of yardage, Brian Toto. Again, you know, a guy, especially when New South Wales were under the pump, he'd come up with some big moments. They were flogging him on our line twice. There was some two big moments where we were trapped on our line, and he just ducked down and barged through and got to the ground to play the ball and obviously got the meters for it as well. Big moments for Brian Toto, a 200-metre plus exhibition for him as well in this one. It was great to see. Lomax was good as well. I thought he had some nice moments, a few errors in this one, and obviously some moments he wished he could take back. But all in all, I thought it was okay. The goal kicking for me was the big one. And I'm not going to be too hypercritical on goal kicking as far as rating a performance goes. But, you know, if he does make 2 or 3 more goals, we win the game. So that's obviously one that he'll sort of be reflecting on a little bit. It's pretty hectic how, you know, Cleary walks into game 1. He's the goal kicker. He misses all these goals. And now Lomax was to do the same thing in game 2. Shows the pressure these guys are under in this sort of arena as well. Obviously, Nathan Cleary a little bit ginger. Hopefully, he's all good to go for Game 3. I'll probably be giving the reins back to him, to be honest. If Lomax gets it, Lomax gets it. But I'd probably be giving the reins back to Nathan Cleary as the 7 of this side. Just quickly before we move off New South Wales, Reece Robson as well. I thought had some big moments. I thought that he was pretty good out of 9 for the most part, obviously. Dipped off a little bit and his tackles were going a little bit wayward after that head knock. Connor Watson came on and was pretty good. Connor Watson's decision-making out of 9. We sort of spoke about going short side too much. That was all Connor Watson. They were, Luai and Cleary were screaming to go left because they had the numbers and they had Latrell ready to go to score a try. And then they went short side again. And obviously that led to the Dylan Edwards drop ball that obviously led to the Lomax knock on as well on the sideline. So, you know, Connor Watson will learn from that too. Obviously, the pressure of the big moments and wanting to come up with the big play would have got to you there for sure. Players that haven't been in this arena for too long. You know, Watson's only played, this is his 3rd game of State of Origin, 3rd or 4th game. Hasn't been in this arena for too long. So obviously those sort of mistakes, trying to go for the big moment to win the game, respect him for it. But yeah, it was just a few times just going through the wrong play out of 9. But as I said, he'll learn from it. I had some great moments as well. Don't get me wrong. Had some really good, nice runs out of dummy half, which is what I thought he would have done a little bit more. Coming onto the field, you want that leg speed. Personally, I would have brought him straight on for Hudson Young. They brought Spencer Leniu on. I would have moved Watson to 13 and had Robson at 9. Just with that leg speed that you can generate there, quick play the balls. I know that there was a little bit of a physicality thing. They were obviously trying to get into Queensland's own end. What Connor Watson was able to provide for Queensland just with the leg speed and the defence, I wanted to see a similar thing there with Connor Watson. So, maybe that's just the way that I would have gone. Obviously, trusting Laurie Daly. But yeah, I mean, look, it was a close game. New South Wales did very well to get back to where they were in the second half. Really silky play in little sections there for Luai and Cleary, but just a little bit of miscommunication and lack of direction at the back end of the game costs the Blues, but also the ill discipline of that first half. 8-0 penalty count going into half-time. For Queensland, let's get stuck into them because obviously they had a big game as well. Massive performance in this one. Defensively, the second half, but in regards to their attack in the first, to be leading 26-6 at halftime after being dominated in game one, there would have been so much head noise around Billy Slater and his selections. He sticks true to what he believes in. He sticks true to the squad that he has. Munster captain as well in his 20th Origin game. Was pretty much, set for a Queensland ambush. We just didn't see it. We were, had the blue goggles on, looking at this game and going, you know what? New South Wales were dominant in game one. They haven't lost in Perth. Put your money on the Blues, and unfortunately, it just wasn't the case. Queensland, they came out extremely hard in that first half. We got to apologise to my man Mo Fodawaker as well because he played unbelievably in this game. Just the intensity in his carries in this one, so much better than the past two games that we've seen from him in the Origin arena. Outstanding performance starting in this game. Really laid a platform himself. And big boy Tino. Jesus, I think that you could have given the player of the match to any one of three guys for me, or four actually. Harry Grant, Cam Munster, Tino Fa'asuamaleaui is one of them. Kurt Capewell is the other. But just staying on Tino for a moment, he was phenomenal in this game. His defense, especially to start the game, he was putting some shots on and he just wasn't afraid of anyone. Payne Haas, Max King, anyone that ran at him, Liam Martin especially, that battle was awesome to watch. That running battle was so good between Liam Martin and Tino Fa'asuamaleaui. That was so fun to watch. But, just not afraid of anyone. Tino was really putting the foot down, coming out. He's a lot better of a forward than some of these other guys, and he showed it with his physicality, Tino Fa'asuamaleaui. So, great game from him. I think that he was a key part as to why they were so dominant for that first half, the minutes that he was playing, and just the intensity, his runs and his defense was outstanding. Kurt Capewell for me. I know that there's... Cam Munster got man of the match by the end of it. Harry Grant was very close. I seriously would have considered giving it to Kurt Capewell. Just some of his defensive moments in this game, and I'll put my hand up straight away. I doubted Kurt Capewell. I think a lot of us did. Going into this game, most missed tackles in the competition. We were blinded by that and didn't really see what Kurt Capewell had done in Origin in the past and how he competes and fights for everything. He did that in this game and then some. With his defense, just really laying a platform. Had some big tackles on Spencer Leniu, forced a few errors out of the New South Wales forwards. And then just his runs. I thought he was really conservative. I had the one error, I think, Kurt Capewell, if I remember correctly. But just run the ball extremely well and was just so good for majority of this game. Played pretty much the full 80 minutes and did an exceptional job, Kurt Capewell. And I think that he'll be holding his head high after that performance. Probably should have been the man of the match, in my opinion at least. He was absolutely insane. I think he keeps his spot too. I don't care who's back. I am completely flipping on my call from before. I think that Kurt Capewell keeps his spot in Origin. He was great in this game. And as I said, probably one of the men of the match, or one of the smokies for men of the match in that game too. Munster, massive performance, really took charge of this side. It was almost like he was the 7 and was the 6. Was just directing this side around, calmed them down in the big moments, kept this side composed. And that's I guess, a really great word to describe this Queensland performance. It was composed. You can describe game one as frantic, as panicky, as, they were really struggling to keep up with New South Wales. But in game two, they were calm, they were composed. If things went against them, which not a lot did in the first half, they were completely calm with it. They'd defend it, and then they'd get the ball back, and they'd unleash carnage. And a big part of that was on Cam Munster. Had some massive moments in this game, some great kicks. Obviously, two of those, 6 agains. No, not 6 agains, 7 tackle sets that he forced as well by kicking the ball dead. You can't look too deep into that. He had so many other great moments in this game. Cam Munster, him and Dearden combined really well. And as I said, Munster was almost like the 7 in this game. He took charge. As I said, he calmed them down in the big moments, kept this side composed, and it was a great performance from Queensland, but in particular from their skipper, who had a big say on the game, Cameron Munster. His kicking game was excellent. His leadership was excellent. Dearden was great as well. Not the big moments that we saw from Dearden in the last series, but just some really great kicks, just timing really, really well. Obviously, that missed tackle that he would want to take back for that try for New South Wales, but other than that, I thought he was really crisp with his ball playing, defended it really well. It was just the game you want to see from Dearden, just a real calm, composed game. He's not the standout, but he comes in and he does a job. Really good from Tom Dearden. And Harry Grant out of 9. Just absolutely phenomenal. Really good performance from him. His service in what conditions is something to be applauded as well. It's not often you get a 9 that can have that good a service, especially in those conditions and the way that it was in the second half, and to stay as composed as he was. And if the pass wasn't on, he'd run, and he wasn't afraid to run. Defensively, very solid, up in New South Wales' face. And even if he was to get rattled off and bumped off in tackles, he'd get straight up, get a marker or get onside and go for the next tackle. So courageous performance from Harry Grant, and just an overall really strong performance from Queensland. Just a little bit of criticism. Jeremiah Nanai, I just feel like off the bench, he doesn't, it's not that he doesn't offer much. He played well when he came on. He only got 15 odd minutes. I just think you got to start him with the amount of moments that he had. I just think you probably do have to start him. I'm probably not going to make that change. I'd keep everything the same for Queensland going into the next one, but it's definitely something that I'd consider for sure. Jeremiah Nanai there on the bench. Maybe Corey Horsburgh, you bring into the game. Again, I don't think I'd change anything for Queensland, but just a little bit of criticism there. I just thought that Nanai didn't have the same amount of impact as he did in game 1. Obviously didn't play the same minutes, but maybe that's something that they look at a little bit. I don't think that they're going to make too many changes, though, as I've said a number of times. Paddy Carrigan was great. They brought him on. He had a real impact. I think that the tactic that they were going for there, where they just wanted to really bash out the first 20 and then to get some of their experienced guys on to weather the storm, and that's what happened. Paddy Carrigan came on. He played really well. Defensively played extremely well. Matched the intensity when he got onto the field as well and had a real impact. So, Paddy Carrigan was good. As I said, Mo Fotuaika was great. Lindsay Collins was outstanding too. Again, another guy that we sort of doubted. We said, should he be in this side after game 1? And obviously after his performances for the Roosters in previous games, I thought that he was good in this game. Really, really solid performance. Ran the ball hard. Had no excuses in his defence. Really tackled well. I wouldn't be surprised if there was only 1 or 2 missed tackles there for Lindsay Collins. He was great in this game. But the big thing for me was his running game, and he wasn't afraid of anyone. He'd run hard at Spencer Leniu. He'd run hard at any one of those forwards, and he'd do it with a real high intensity, and then he'd work for that play the ball. And then defensively, he'd go after Spencer Leniu, which he did a number of times off the kickoff, and they pretty much put that they won't kick to Spencer Leniu myth to bed. They really went after him in this game too, Spencer Leniu. Anything else really there for Queensland? I'm just sort of trying to think off the top of my head. Xavier Coates played well. I thought his carries out of yardage. I thought that Hammer on the wing was a really good call. It was a bit of a masterstroke too. They swapped the wingers over, so Coates was on the left side too, and Hammer was on the right. Hammer and Toya were so dangerous in this one. Really dangerous. Toya had some real bad errors, which obviously gave New South Wales some key ball, but he's young. I mean, you got to expect that from a Robert Toya as well. Otherwise, I thought he was good. He had some real nice runs, defended quite well as well there in the centres. They were giving him trouble a few times, but I thought that he stood his ground to the best of his ability going up against Latrell. Especially when Latrell was as silky as he was in this one. And that's something we didn't even talk about for New South Wales. I thought he was good. Didn't have the big moments, didn't have the big runs, Latrell. But when it counted, he got the ball to the man that needed to score the try, and Brian Toto. He was pretty good. But yeah, Rob Toya I thought was still pretty good from a running sense. As I said, he probably wants it because there's a few errors there he probably wanted to take back, but other than that, I thought that he was pretty good. Cotter's defense in this one as well was outstanding. We could pretty much compliment a lot of the guys from Queensland. They did a really good job. Billy Slater aced it as well, going to Perth where they haven't won a game before in their history of going there since 2019. And they obviously get the win there in a very tight game where New South Wales could have won. If they kick 1 or 2 more goals, they win the game. But we can't dwell on that. We're going to a decider. Changes for either side. I don't think there's going to be any. I really don't for either side. I think that they're going to keep it exactly the same. Squads will probably change with a few other guys getting experience in New South Wales squads. The big watches for me will be the quad injury for Nathan Cleary. I don't think that. I think that he'll be sweet. I think if they rest him and if they do get a bit lucky with the buys, as I said, I haven't checked the schedule yet. But if they do get lucky with some buys and he gets a real good time to rest that quad, he should be all good to go. But it certainly will be a watch. I don't think anyone else got injured in that game, so I don't think there'll be any changes here for either side. Obviously, when you look at origin changes, you look straight to the losing team. I don't think there's going to be any changes here going into the decider. I think they're going to keep it pretty similar. I can't think of any changes. I was going to try and think of something then. I thought something popped into my mind, but no, I think they're going to keep it pretty the same. New South Wales and going into this one, Queensland the same. I don't think there'll be any changes unless there's some injuries for either of these squads. And, New South Wales have already had 2. Barnett out, who by the way, I thought that was pretty telling, actually. I thought that Barnett's impact in game 1, you could see that he was absent out there in game 2. And obviously Moses as well. They've had injuries there, but I thought, as I said, Luai did a really good job for the game and everything that was thrown at them. So, New South Wales is going to take a lot of notes from this. Obviously, discipline's going to be the big thing. Staying disciplined, starting the game well, with the same intensity as they did in game 1 and trying to get the run over Queensland, especially with that home ground advantage. I mean, it's Origin. Anything's going to happen, and you can't really look too deep into that. We beat Queensland in Queensland. Can Queensland beat us in New South Wales? We'll have to wait and see. We'll be down at the decider, guys, so if you are going to the game, reach out. I'd love to meet with some of you guys as well and chat some footy before kickoff. So shoot us a DM, Big LEZ'S League _ if you want to meet up at the footy. But we will be down there at the decider at Accor Stadium, so make sure to shoot us a message if you want to see us before the game. Subscribe to the Big LEZ'S League community if you are watching this on the YouTube. Subscribe to Apple and Spotify as well to stay in the loop with all the extra content you get on there. But subscribe to the YouTube because there is plenty of content coming. We will try and get the drawing board out at some stage for you guys as well. It'll probably be on the Friday. We'll try and record it on the Thursday night after training, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, plenty of great content coming over the next few weeks on the YouTube, guys. And then obviously in the off season, we get all our interviews underway. Got a few guys lined up already for that as well. Just need to double check with them, but should be good to go for the off season. Still a while away yet. But subscribe to the YouTube. Don't miss out on any of that great content. We got Breaking Bread, the news show. We got Drawing Board, the Supercoach show, and all the Origin content. The preview, Origin changes, a reaction, and then obviously the review of Game 3 coming to you yet for Origin as well. So don't miss any of that great content. Subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one.